Okay. We're going to work on multiplying multi-digit numbers. So these are both decimal values. And this is 38.4 multiplied by 1.5. This isn't the clearest. They're asking us, what is it equal to? So the standard way to do this, in multiplication, it doesn't matter the order you multiply things, but usually we take the number with the most amount of digits and we put it on the top. So I'm going to say 38.4. There are 3 significant digits here. I could technically make zeros at the end of all of these, but they don't matter.
Then you line up the decimal.
Exactly. So the next one here, I have 1.5. So I'm going to write that just underneath, 1.5. Now there's a couple different ways, and this is a multiplication question, so we've set it up. This is the standard way to do it. One of the things I can do is I can forget about all the decimals and just go into my multiplication rules. All I have to remember is how many decimal places are in the question. So there's 1 and there's 2. So Sophia had a little trick here. She wrote the number 2 like this on the side so that we remember. It's a great thing to do. Okay? After that, I don't have to worry about the decimals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the very first value, 5. Oh my gosh, that's a terrible color to use for this. That's a little better. We're going to go through 5, and we're going to multiply it by the very first digit on the right, 4. So 5 times 4, great. I write down just the ones column, whatever that digit is, and the tens column I bring over. I carry it on top. Next thing we do is 5 times 8. 40. I still got to add that 2.
42.
Great. So my 2 comes down in my tens column. The 4 I carry over again. And 5 times 3.
15.
Great.
Plus 4 is 19.
Right. So we write down the 9. Technically, I carry the 1 again. There's nothing here. You could almost say, what's 5 times 0?
0.
Plus 1?
1.
And we write down the 1. But if there's nothing after, we could have just written 19 down. Okay?
Then you put your decimal right there.
Not yet. Because there's 2 digits, the very next thing I have to do is when I go to the next numbers, I have to put a 0 in here. It's like a placeholder.
But
Okay?
isn't that when you do take that out 2 digit by 2 digit?
Well, we're going to add the digits back in after we do all the addition part of this. Okay? So I put a 0 here. And the reason I put a 0 is because this value, imagine the decimals are gone. This is representing like a tens column. So there's nothing. This is like 10 times 4. It's going to be 40. There's nothing that's going to happen in the ones column here. So we put in a 0 to start right away. And the next number we're going to work with, I'll do it at different colors, the 1. So we do 1 times, whoa, that's not the thing I wanted. There we go. 1 times 4 is?
4.
Right, nice and easy. So we write down the 4. Next value, 1
8.
times. Yeah,
And
right.
then 3.
Very good. Okay,
Then you add it.
because we've done both of the numbers on the bottom, we're finished our multiplication. We put a line, and we add our values. Okay, 0 and 0.
0.
4 and 2.
6.
9 and 8.
17.
Very good. Carry the 1. 3, 1, and 1. 5. Now the very last step. Our answer can't be 5,760 because we had some decimal values. How many decimal values did we have?
2.
2. So we start here and we go over to 1,
2.
2. So our answer is 57.6. Now,
I had 3.
there's another way to do this though. This is a standard algorithm. Another way is to actually make, you ever seen a table with like rows and columns? Same thing. I'm going to write in 38. And I'm not going to write in the decimal. Well, I guess we'll write it in just for this method right now. With a decimal like this, again, it's not super important. So I have 1, 2, 3 columns. Okay. My second digit, I'm going to actually draw it vertically. Okay. 1.5. And there are
It's like a
1,
multiplication
2.
table.
This is a multiplication type of table. So look at this. I've made a giant box.
Oh,
And I'm gonna
I've done
move
this before.
a column and 1 row.
Done this before.
Now, the one trick to this when we make this, so because it's a 3 by 2, this is kind of doing your area too. 3 by 2 gives us 6 spaces. Each of the triangle, or each of these rectangles, I'm going to put a little line through, okay? Now we're going to play bingo. You ever done bingo before?
Yeah.
This one's pretty simple because what I do is I'm going to take this first number, 1,
Multiply by 4.
multiply by 4. What's 1 times 4?
4.
4. So the 4 goes in the below and a 0 goes here because this top half represents the tens columns and the bottom half represents the ones, okay? What is 1 times 8? Right, so we're going to write 0, 8, okay? And 1 times 3?
3.
So we get 0, 3. That's nice. How about 5?
But that's the same
5
number.
times 4.
20.
So we do 5 times 4 here, 20. So the 2 goes in here,
0.
0 goes down here. What's 5 times 8?
40.
So we write the 4 in here, and the 0 down here. And finally, what's 5 times 3?
15.
So the 1 goes here, and the 5 goes here. Now, I do have to make sure that these kind of line up. There we go.
Then you add them.
Then we add across. So we start at the very bottom here. What's 0 plus nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing, okay. What's 4 plus 2 plus 0?
6.
6. What's 0 plus 8?
17.
Oh, you did it all in a row. Plus 4 plus 5. Great. So we have the 7. We're going to carry the 1 to the next row up. What's 1 plus 3 plus 1?
5.
5. And now, how many decimals did we count from the very
2.
beginning? So we have 1, and we have 2 decimal places. So we go 1, 2. And what do we get as an answer?
This one's easier.
Yeah, whichever one you find simpler to do, you go with, okay?
But that one's cool.
This is neat. It's just because we haven't really seen it before.